And so we're just two young newlyweds thinking she loved to cook. Neither of us had been to culinary school. We thought this will be fun. Well, we made a little menu, started telling our friends and family. And then after a few months, it was like, I can't do 2 jobs. Like, this is insane. Like, I was catering like up to like 10 events a week, smallish events for like 10 to 15, 20 people. A lot of doctor's offices. My best friend was a drug rep, so she kind of got me in. You know how that is.
That's how I started.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. So, especially back then, drug reps had these huge budgets on they had to spend.
It's nuts.
Yeah, it's nuts. I wish it was still that way.
They don't have. Today we're talking to a lady named Ashley McMakin. So if you're in Birmingham, many of you will know her by Ashley Mac. She's got a bunch of restaurants here in Birmingham. She's a local girl that's, as I've done my research, she's very, very similar to me. She had a job out of college, then she transitioned into food. She's a lady after my own heart because she has a thriving food business, and she didn't go to culinary school, which is very, very odd in the business that we're in. So I'm excited to talk to Ashley Mac. Ashley, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So I was talking, so a lot of people don't know this is the first actual time I've actually physically talked to her at all. And so we've texted and emailed and things like that. But throughout the research, you are an incredibly interesting lady. Just as you look at like your Instagram and then the questions that you answer, I am excited to learn more about you because of our similarities. So. Yeah. Local girl from Birmingham, went to Briarwood. So one of the first questions I always like to ask people is, when you were a kid, what did you want to be when you grew up?
Okay, when I was a kid, I had lots of different interests. Always was into sports, always into food. But my mom stayed home with me and my 3 brothers. And so I ultimately was like, I want to be a mom. I was my 2 younger brothers are a good bit younger than me, so I was like the little mama, feeding them and helping. And so I really envisioned that I would be a stay-at-home mom. Yeah.
So why'd you go to college then?
I mean, I'm from the South.
That's what you do.
Everyone goes to college. I didn't even think about it. My dad and my father-in-law played at Alabama. Bear Bryant.
Oh, okay.
And so I'm like diehard Alabama fan.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide. Right. And I actually played soccer there very briefly.
Really?
So I was played my whole life, and my whole goal was I want to play soccer at a D1 school. And I looked at several schools, and Alabama recruited me, and I went there and also pledged a sorority. And then I thought, this is so fun. I don't think I want to play soccer anymore.
What sorority did you pledge?
Alpha Chi Omega. 98.
Where Stephanie and Vanessa work. So I was really good. What girl I went to high school with.
Okay.
We were good friends with her. And I can't remember what she was. Her name is Stephanie Roberts. And then this other girl who I was friends with named Vanessa Williams, not the Vanessa Williams.
Okay.
And I
might know their face.
Yeah, sure. So you talked about your family a bunch, and you've got a very eclectic family story.
I do.
So we're the same age, graduated from high school, class of 98. Let's go. So tell me about your family, your immediate family, about your family.
Yes. Okay. So like I said, I'd always wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. And after I graduated from Alabama, I actually went to China with Campus Crusade for Christ, which is now called Cru, for a year.
Okay.
And came home, got engaged the day I got home to my college sweetheart. Wonderful. And and Andy McMakin. And, I was like, this will be great. We got married. I'm like, oh, we'll wait a couple years, have fun, and then we'll have some kids.
Sure.
And God had very different plans. We could not get pregnant for several years. And that's actually in the middle of when we started Ashley Max. So I was in advertising right out of college.
Okay.
And then started Ashley Max as kind of basically a little hobby. Started doing cooking, catering for people on the side, selling cakes for my grandmother, her friends, very word of mouth. And that is when we were building our family, or trying to build our family. And we ended up having 2 biological boys, adopted a little girl from China, and then we have 2 foster kids, which is a long story, which I'm happy to talk about at some point.
Okay, so you skipped way ahead. This is not like we've got all these questions here that are out of order, Ashley. Okay, so let's do this. The family piece is important because we struggled a little bit with fertility, not like that. But we had our struggles. So the fertility part of it is like the first time we did the same thing. Hey, let's wait a couple of years. Hey, and we said, hey, let's start trying.
Yeah.
Hey, look, first time, this is a lot of information. The first time we tried, pregnant.
Oh.
And so we thought, just, hey, We got this
Yeah,
thing down.
yeah.
So we said, what about number 2?
Yeah.
And it took over a year.
Okay.
And
yeah.
we started getting like, well, we had friends that had struggled, and we had, been talking to them, and
Right.
so have a heart for people that do struggle with fertility, because it is a very internal thing where you go, what's wrong with me?
Right. Yeah.
And so especially with people of faith,
Yeah.
it's a very difficult road to travel, because
Right.
the Bible is very like, there's a lot of biblical principles of children and all those types of things.
Right.
And so I can't imagine. How long did it take you guys?
Several years. So we ended up
Wow.
going to a fertility specialist
Yeah.
and doing lots of treatments. And on the very last time that we thought, okay, we're going to do this one more round, we didn't do IVF, and we couldn't afford it. And
Sure.
and so anyway, when we get to that point, the doctor's like, this is the last kind of thing we can do until you move to that. And so we thought, okay, well, we're going to adopt if, this doesn't happen. And then we end up getting
Amen.
pregnant. So
That's
yeah.
so good.
And he's 15 now. So yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, so let's do this. You go to China after college, and then you take a job at an advertising agency.
Right.
Tell me about that.
Okay.
Where did you go? Where did you work?
Martin Advertising in
Okay.
downtown Birmingham.
Yeah.
We do automotive advertising.
Yeah.
And a friend that was an Alpha Chi with me in Alabama, her parents owned it. And so she was like, hey, you should come interview here, And I had a marketing degree from Alabama. I was in the business school.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was kind of right up my alley. I thought this will be, nice to do and for, a few years. And so I go there, and I was at a desk, and I have a lot of energy, too much energy to sit at a desk all day. And so during that time was actually when I kind of started this little catering gig. It was actually called A Taste of Birmingham. It was not called
Okay.
Ashley McMakin, with a friend that worked with me there. And so we really started this like, hey, this is going to be fun to do like on nights and weekends. We'll
Sure.
cater for people. And word of mouth kind of got out. I'm from Birmingham. My friend was from Birmingham. Uncles, aunts, people started using us, have a huge family. They told their friends, and we really got into the corporate catering world pretty quickly. I was not interested in weddings. I didn't want to give up my weekends. And,
Yeah. Oh, it's real.
yeah. And so anyway, so that's kind of, how it kind of jumped from advertising to that.
Okay, so I thought about this as I was writing these questions down. So what would you do differently immediately post-college if you had to go back and do that differently? I'm talking about that span of like, I graduate, not the China thing.
Right.
What would you do differently
Yeah.
immediately post-college?
Well, honestly, looking back now, and I know you mentioned, you didn't go to culinary school, and I do, part of that is exciting because it's like I've kind of had to teach myself and learn all these things. But now looking back, I'm like, man, I would have fun at culinary school. So I was like, that would be fun just to have, and to have a little more knowledge and industry knowledge. I would have probably worked in a restaurant because now that I know, once again, hindsight's 2020.
Yeah.
But I still have never
It
worked
worked out
a day.
pretty good though.
It's worked out. So that's what my husband's like. Why would you want to go to culinary school? Like you're doing what people go to culinary school to do. Like,
And you're doing it great.
wow.
I mean, it's
that's
very,
kind.
very difficult. One restaurant's hard.
Yeah.
5's incredibly hard. I
Yeah.
can't imagine. So, okay, so you're working at the advertising agency, and you're doing this side hustle thing.
Yeah.
How long did you do the W-2 and the side hustle thing?
It only crossed over for about 3 or 4 months when I started this little, we literally made our own business cards, like homemade little, total,
You keep saying we. Who is we?
Okay, I had a business partner at that time.
Okay.
And she worked at this advertising agency with me. And so we're just two young newlyweds thinking she loved to cook. Neither of us had been to culinary school. We thought this will be fun. Well, we made a little menu, started telling our friends and family. And then after a few months, it was like, I can't do 2 jobs. Like, this is insane. Like, I was catering like up to like 10 events a week, smallish events for like 10 to 15, 20 people. A lot of doctor's offices. My best friend was a drug rep, so she kind of got me in. You know how that is.
That's how I started.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. So especially back then, drug reps had these huge budgets on that they had to spend.
It's nuts.
Yeah, it's nuts. I wish it was still that way.
They don't
but
have the regulations in the drug industry have lightened up on the drugs that they sell in the advertising. Here's what they haven't. They've lightened up tons on their budgets.
Yeah.
Because they used to could spend obscene amounts of
Yes,
money.
we would have a drug reps call us and be like, "I've got to spend $10,000 in this next month. What can you do? Or whatever it is."
And they got to go spend it.
Yeah, yeah.
And they can't take them fishing.
Right.
They just have to buy food.
Yes, yeah. So that was kind of our end. So yeah, I would say it crossed over for a few months. And I mean, I was up till midnight cooking. This is how kind of the straw that broke the camel's back. So during my lunch break, we would leave and go to our houses, pick up, let's say we made chicken salad sandwiches.
Yeah.
We had made them like that morning, run home on our lunch break, deliver them to St. Vincent's or wherever we're going downtown, back to our office. Well, one day we were gone for like 2.5 hours, and I get back and the boss calls me to their office and was like, hey, we know y'all had this little other business and we are supportive of that, but you can't be gone for 2.5 hours.
And they're right.
They're right. And so of course now being an employer, I'm like, oh, that was bad. So bad.
Yeah. So how long? So you did it for 3 or 4 months.
Yeah, 3 or 4 months.
And then what was the transition from full time there to like full time Ashley McMakin?
Right. Okay. So my husband is an accountant, and he was at full time at an accounting firm, and he was honestly the one that was like, "Hey, I think you should keep pursuing this. Like, people love your food.
Okay.
You don't love sitting at a desk all day.
Right.
We're okay financially. Why don't you try this out?" And I was kind of like a little probably more nervous than him, but he was like, just, I think you should go for it. And so when I left, my partner at the time, she stayed a little bit longer at the ad agency, and then she left to do it. Well, she ended up getting pregnant pretty soon after we started doing this at home. And she was like, I'll keep doing this with you until I have the baby. And I was like, okay, great. In my mind, I'm thinking, oh, I'll probably get pregnant not too far after her, and then this will just be something we can do for fun. That's all I'm thinking at this time.
Because in your heart, when you had kids, you were going to go be a mom.
Yes, that was the plan. So, and I thought, this would be fun. Maybe I can do this still when I have kids, like from home. I can bake some cakes and, so that was my plan. But God had very, very different ones.
So, when the girl that was your partner, when did she exit, or is she still in?
She exited about a year after once she had the baby. So it was like a year at our houses.
So once you left there, did you go into restaurant stuff, or did you do catering?
Just catering. So I was still doing out of a tiny apartment in Homewood.
So you're still super illegal.
Oh, super illegal, yes.
Perfect. Me and you both.
Yes, I would be like, tell my friends, like, don't post this. And this was before really Instagram stuff, but still, I was like, don't tell too many people because, I don't have a business license.
The health department.
I don't need the health department
exactly.
coming here. But yeah, tiny. We had 2 like full-size fridges and freezers in our apartment kitchen. And one oven, me and my husband, one oven. We were in Homewood. And crazy.
I've been there.
Yeah. We would cool cakes like on my dining room table. I would put towels and then like speed racks like in my dining room. And
so let's just say how it is. How long till you were legal?
Oh, okay. I would say out of our condo, that was in 2005. It's just when kind of I started it. I was still working. And then we opened our first brick and mortar in 2007 in Bluff Park.
Okay. So you went from the on the side catering. Did you go into a restaurant, or did you just have a space to do this stuff?
Just a space to do this stuff. So the Bluff Park store was our first store in Hoover, and my husband actually, he and his dad actually happened upon this little space that was like a tea room, and he was like, "Hey, has a big catering kitchen."
Where?
Bluff Park across from the Pig. It was the White Lily Tea Room forever ago. And so, anyway, had a catering kitchen, and we walked in. And it was like, okay, this is nice. Like, move this out of our house. We'll just do catering.
Sure.
And
probably
so,
pretty cheap.
Yes. Oh, very cheap.
Yeah.
Had a tiny little storefront. Like, you could maybe put 2 tables if you wanted to, but once again, we weren't a restaurant. And so, what's funny is out of there, people would come in. We had a big awning, and we kind of had a grand opening and like let people know we're here, but we're catering,
Yeah.
But people would come in and be like, "Oh, it smells so good in here. Like, can we buy some stuff?" I'm like, "Well, here's a menu. Like, 10 people's the minimum. Like, we're a catering business."
Right.
Well, after a couple months of people doing that, we're like, maybe we should sell these people some food. No! And so that's how we got what we used to call Gourmet to Go. We rebranded recently, so it's called Our Market, but it's all the frozen meals, a chicken salad, and the fresh, salads and things like that.
So you're doing the catering. When did you make that store a restaurant?
We did not.
What
Our
was the
first one, the next step was in 2010.
Oh, so 3 years.
3 years. Yeah. So 2007, it was just the market and catering. And then in 2010, we opened in Cava Heights, which is our first cafe store.
Okay. So talk to me about this. This is where the nerd part, and people are probably going to drop off because they don't like talking about this stuff. Were you making any money from 7 to 10 just catering?
From 2007 to 2010, just catering. Not much.
Really?
I mean, yeah, we were making money, but not anything like crazy.
But is it because of volume or because of margin?
A little of both. I mean, volume was getting up there, but of course I was hiring people. I mean, I had probably about 7 employees at this time.
Yeah.
So we were making money, but it wasn't like we were killing it. I mean,
See, the margins in everything that I've seen, most of the time, the margins in catering are more than they are in restaurants.
Oh, 100%. Yes.
And so
Yes.
it's where we had a little spot in Tennessee, and we were making money, but it wasn't like the waste out.
Oh, for restaurant. Yes. Oh, the margins are tiny on your prepared food that you're just doing straight out of the, yeah.
And it's just like, I saw someone ask me that I get asked once a week, "Hey, you got a restaurant?" No, I don't. We just do catering.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so like, I sit there and I go, why did you not just continue to be the best caterer as opposed to starting a restaurant?
Sure. Okay. Here's how. So when we opened our Cava Heights location, we go in there and when we first leased it and we're kind of fixing it up, a huge catering kitchen. And in the front, they had tables and chairs because it was like a cooking school for kids. It was called Viva the Chef in Vestavia. And so they would cook in the back and then serve stuff up front. Cool. And so there was like a transaction counter, tables. Okay. So when we go in there, my husband was like, "Hey, what are we going to do with all these like tables up here and chairs? Like, should we just serve food up here?" And of course I was like, "You mean a restaurant?" I was like, No.
I'm catering.
Yes, I'm a caterer. I mean, we were going to do the fridges and freezers for the market, for the cakes and all the stuff to go. And that was in my mind. I was like, we got this great business model, But he was the one that was like, I think we should at least try it, And of course, him, the numbers guy, knowing nothing what it takes to,
Sure.
He's like, oh, you can just do the same food you do for catering, whatever. And so that's how, I mean, literally, I was on like the sandwich line the first day we were open. Yeah, like, okay, I'm making these sandwiches. And so, but honestly, pretty quickly, word of mouth grew, and the cafe did become, successful. So,
where was it at in Cava Heights?
Cava Heights Road on Green Valley Road, right behind Cava Heights Road.
Yeah.
By Midtown, across from Midtown.
I know exactly where it is.
Yes.
Okay.
So that was our first.
So, from 2005 to 2010, you go from catering and having like grab and go stuff to having a full-fledged restaurant.
Right.
Okay. So, what was the number one marketing tool that you would contribute your growth to?
Ooh, number one marketing tool. Honestly, word of mouth. Yeah. I think people, which I know that's can be a cliche answer, but it really was. I think being from here, using all my, network of people, right. I have a huge family, them telling their friends, my friends that were using me for catering for, business things, them telling the other departments, like we got into Alabama Power, we got into Vulcan Materials, and then it's like Sure. It kind of snowballed. And so, and then for the cafe, really, honestly, just the presence of, a brick and mortar store is great advertising. Yeah. And we did very, very little paid advertising. I will say Southern Living reached out to me in 2012. Okay. And so not too long after we had opened that store, and did a piece on my grandmother, myself, and my mom. So I really attribute a lot to my grandmother and my mom. They're great cooks. And I
want to say I've seen that.
You might have, I don't know. So my grandmother's they're from Mountain Brook, and she, like I said, just kind of that whole neighborhood, people knew who she was, and then they knew I'd opened Ashley McMakin. So I don't know how someone gave them my name, I guess. And so they did a whole article on us, some recipes, a whole photo shoot, so that definitely kind of springboarded. Yes, it helped. And that was, Southern Living was big then, as far as people were still reading rural magazines.
Sure. And they're still big.
Yes.
And they're still, but like, right. You're right.
Yeah.
14 years ago,
yes.
It's a lot bigger.
Right.
Okay, so you have the one store in Cava Heights. What was the next step?
Okay, so next step. So Cava Heights, we had just had our first child, and so he was about 1 year old when we opened that. And so I'm kind of quasi in, quasi out, meaning we'd hired enough people like to kind of run it. I was not like in there every single day running the show.
Yeah.
My husband had kind of taken over a lot of the day-to-day, or like overseeing the day-to-day things. And once that became successful, that model of cafe, catering, and then the market, he stumbled upon a place down 280 in Inverness, and a restaurant that was going out of business. And he was like, "Hey, I found this other spot. I think maybe we should put another one." And at this point, of course, I'm like, what are you talking about? You know, like we finally takes so much just to get, you know, one go. I mean, I was definitely like, I don't know about this. Like, I don't like, can we just have one? And he was kind of thinking about, you know, partly about going back into accounting or doing other things. And just, this was going to be like our little kind of side gig.
Right.
And so, and I still want, you know, we had one kid, I came from a big family,
Right.
wanted a big family. So I wasn't interested in growing the company. Yeah, really at all.
Wow. Yeah, no, I mean.
But you can see who won that.
Yeah, well, but you meet people like that. Like, I've got a person I know really well. He owns a landscaping business and does a very good job.
Yeah.
He's fine
Yeah.
with where they are.
Right.
He's like, I could have 200 more customers, but I don't want them.
Right. Right.
That doesn't equate in my mind.
Yeah.
I think he's crazy.
Yeah.
So, but
And that's how my husband is. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And we get along. So, you've got one store. Your husband wants to open a second store. So my next question is, how are you funding opening a restaurant? Because it's expensive.
It is expensive, yes. So thankfully, we were able to internally fund it. I mean,
Okay.
the first one was successful, the one in Black
Yeah.
Park. You know, like I said, it wasn't like we were making a ton of money, but enough to kind of feel like we could manage this next
Pay
lease.
yourself,
And, yes,
save some money.
yes,
Well, yeah,
exactly.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
So what about the one in
Okay,
280?
so then we ended up finding this one on 280, opened that one in 2013. And so that one, like I said, I was kind of on the fence on, like, are we going to be able to do this well? That was my big thing. I'm like,
Yep.
are we going to be able to do it as well as the first? And so, but we were big on not going into debt and growing slowly. And, you know, so
Do you have any outside investors?
we do now.
You do now?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
I want to get to that.
Yeah.
So store 2.
Yep.
How does store 2 do?
Okay, store 2 does great. So it you know, took off fairly quickly. I will say we went into a location that several restaurants had not done well, but we did some research on the.
I'm trying to think of where it is.
It's on it's by Baker's Lamps and the jewelry place. I'm trying to think of what else is over there that you would know, but it's on Valleydale Road. So
it's on
right,
Valleydale.
yeah, right near Kohl's and all that. Yes,
I got you.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So right
right.
there. So yeah, so that one did well. You know, I think the biggest challenge was, you know, getting good people because we already had to staff one store and then we're having to staff another store. So but once we found some, you know, good people to run it, we were still out there a lot, obviously early on. But yeah, it started doing well. And then we put in another location a few years later. And
Where's the other location?
2015 River Chase.
Okay.
So out by the Galleria.
I know where
like
that
on
is.
31. Yep. Near Tzatziki's
How
out
long
there.
did you run that one until you've got 5, correct?
We just Pizzitz. Our lease ran up at Pizzitz. We were at the food hall. That was our
I do
fifth
know
one.
where that one.
And so, but then we're about to open in Brock's Gap, so we'll have 5 again
So
pretty
you're
soon.
going to not do Pizzitz.
Yes.
So I can tell the story. So right next to you at Pizzitz.
Uh-huh.
So there's your store, and then there's that big that sitting area outside.
Yeah.
Okay. You know the place on the front
Yes.
that used to be an Italian restaurant?
Yes. It's been several different things.
We came this close
Oh,
to buying that.
really? Oh, wow.
We did.
Wow. That's crazy.
We came very close because the people that were there just left.
Yes.
They left
Oh,
all
I
their
remember
crap.
hearing about all that.
They
Yeah.
left all their crap.
I think we looked at it actually too
And
after that. Yeah.
I was going to make it an event space.
Okay.
I do not want to be in the restaurant
Yeah.
business.
Yeah.
Like, I don't. Like, I did it. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's not for me.
Yeah.
But we were going to make it an event space and have those small, just intimate type events, but also use it as a catering kitchen
Yeah.
as
Service
another
downtown or wherever.
whatever.
Yeah. Sure.
So
Yeah, unfortunately, we opened down there in 2020, so
did.
it was a rough. Yes, we had already signed the lease and everything, and then March 13th hit, and we were supposed to open that March. We ended up opening in June, but yeah,
Okay, so I want to say that you were under construction when I went down there.
probably so. Yep,
You were, because yes, I remember that.
that's so funny.
So it was a 4-year lease, a 5-year lease?
Yep, 5-year lease. Yep.
Was it just a total disaster?
It was rough. It was just, you know, honestly, I think Birmingham was like resurgence was occurring right before up to
Sure.
2020. And I was excited about me. I'm from here. I love the city. I love the mix of people. I love so many things about downtown Birmingham. And, we were just pumped to be down there. We cater so much down there. We thought, this is a no-brainer. We don't have to have that much staff down here. It's a small store.
Yep.
We'll service downtown for people that want to come in and do this, but also, maybe increase catering, people seeing us and getting it. And it just never took off really, as far as, we were fine, but it wasn't worth it. I would say that.
Sure.
So, yeah.
It's, downtown is cool, but like there's two different dynamics. You've got Paramount.
Yep.
You've got Helen.
Yep.
You've got all 2nd Avenue that's bumping.
Right.
Tuesday night to Saturday night.
Right.
4:30 to midnight.
Right. Yes.
But then everywhere else, it's a lunchtime thing.
Yeah.
And it's like a ghost town. So like
Yes.
Pizitz is usually a ghost town after 1 o'clock,
Yep.
2 o'clock.
Yep. And
that, I think the people in the building are fine, but there's been a lot of turnover there.
Oh, yeah. To me, my husband and I were talking about it. I just don't think Birmingham can support a food hall like Chelsea Market in New York. We just don't have the volume of people down there.
You got a lot of
You got to have a lot of people. So, and the market's such a big part of our business, and we much higher margins on our market items. And people, people that live in the building, of course, will buy from us, but most people aren't going to come in there to get their meal to go down. So it's just
it's clunky too. A food hall is clunky because you have to walk to it as opposed to Homewood.
Yeah.
Your Homewood spot is gold.
Yeah.
Gigantic parking lot.
Right.
Walk right in, walk right out. It's wonderful.
Right. Yes.
So my next question was, what's the hardest store to open? And I would say downtown would probably be that. Am I putting words in your mouth?
Yes. No, that was hard in the sense of it not doing great. But, looking back, of course, now, Coppa Heights would have been our hardest because that was our first one.
You're learning.
We're learning, yes. Because honestly, by the time we opened Homewood, I had a great team. I was able just to kind of be like, oh yeah, this is what we use for the booth. This is what we use for this, and I had someone kind of in charge of all that. I wasn't have to be in there every day. I was kind of approving things. At this point, we had general managers in every store. Early on, I was the general manager of all the stores. Yeah.
Doing all the hiring, doing all the firing.
Yep.
So which store is the most profitable?
Okay, Homewood and Coppa Heights they're duking it out right now.
Really?
So it's always been Coppa Heights. That's our oldest, location.
Sure.
So most loyalty for sure there.
Yeah.
But Homewood has done really well. So yeah.
That area of Homewood's wonderful.
Yeah, we love Homewood. It's just a great we do better in little neighborhoods and
Sure.
where there's businesses too, but it's very we do a lot of ladies lunches and things like that. So
where are you opening up the one in Brock's Gap?
it is in Knox Square, which is right across from the Met, basically, or right across from the turn where you got the baseball fields. Right. So down on the main.
Across from Finley Center.
Yep. Yeah.
So I think Rock and them are opening up a salon in there. Salon 43-1.
Oh, okay. I think there is a salon in there.
It's Rock Salon.
Okay.
You know 43-1 on 119?
Yeah. Yeah.
They're opening up one in
Okay.
there.
I need to look at the list.
You need to know them.
Okay.
Like
I
Rock
would
and
love
Brittany
to.
are wonderful. Rock is one of my best friends.
Oh, okay.
Business, they're really similar to y'all.
Okay.
So like she cuts the hair and does the hair.
Okay.
And he is like the business thing. So
Okay.
y'all need to go
that's
out.
Awesome. Yeah, I love that.
I did not even think about that.
That's
so
awesome.
that's great. So I'm going to get
Yeah.
you introduced to them.
Okay.
So, what is the number one selling item that you have?
The number one selling item, it'd either be our sour cream biscuits, our chicken salad, or some form of strawberry cake cupcakes. But volume-wise, probably the biscuits and the chicken salad.
Strawberry cake.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's just talk through this. So is the strawberry, I know you're going to know what you're going to say. How is your strawberry cake compared to Edgar's strawberry cake?
Well,
Because they are a serious competitor.
and they're known for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me
It's
about
funny
that.
you asked me that because early on, like first store, Bluff Park, I remember everyone talking about Edgar's strawberry cake when I started making it. And my mom, it's my mom's recipe. She used to make it for us growing up.
Okay.
And so I've been, had it my whole life. And my mom was like, you've got to start selling this cake. It was not on the menu originally. And my mom was like, you should sell my cake, And I was like, oh, And anyway, so
She said you should sell
yeah,
my
she
cake.
did.
I love it.
Yes,
I love
yeah.
it.
Oh, yeah. She was like, and she was right.
Yeah.
She has royalties for life now. So
That's right.
free cake. But anyway, I remember people kind of talking about, oh, can it beat Edgar's, whatever. And one of our employees, I think, is who ended up bringing an Edgar's cake to Ashley Max for us to taste test. And let me just leave it here that I felt okay about it after I tried both of them. And I was like, okay.
Well,
I feel okay about
I have
this.
not had your strawberry
Well, I
cake,
should have brought you a piece.
and I will have that as soon as I can. That's great. I've always said we have had 3 sources of revenue in everything we did. So at one point we were meal plans, meal prep, and catering.
Okay.
And then we went from a lot less meal plans to restaurant. This is in Tennessee. Restaurant, meal prep, catering.
Okay.
We come here. We have Highlands College because we do all the food for Highlands College.
Right.
Okay. And we have Meal Fit, Table and Time, and then we have vending too. So we kind of
Okay.
It's not really 4. I say all catering. So Highlands College, catering, and vending.
Okay.
It sounds like you have 3. You have restaurant, you have market, and then you have catering.
Right.
Break those down percentage wise.
Yeah. So
If you can.
Yeah. My husband would definitely be better at this than me, because it does fluctuate, obviously.
Sure.
And catering was way up before COVID, and it is not as big of our business as it was before COVID. And so now I would say, but our the market items are probably 40%, 30%.
Really?
Yeah, a lot. We do a lot of our market items. So that's a huge part of what we do.
So you think 40% of your
maybe 30%.
30% of your dollars are grab and go?
Yes. That's a huge part of our business. So, and honestly, it's easy because we're making that in bulk, putting it up there. Customers are buying it. It's not, the interaction is not as much as obviously
They know what they're
serving
coming
it.
to get.
Yes.
Hey, we'll go by Ashley Max and get 2 things of chicken salad.
Yes. Yeah.
30%.
Yeah.
I would not have guessed that.
Yeah.
So tell me about the other. Are you 30, 30, 30?
I mean, like I said, I know some months we've looked at it or some, periods of time we've looked at it and it's been, oh, wow, that's impressive, like almost equal, But then there's definitely times, like I said, I definitely know our catering's a little bit down right now.
January.
But then cafe, 40, 50%.
I would have never guessed that 30%, 35% of your business would be the market. That's
And I
great.
can confirm that with my husband. It might be a little more, but yeah.
So the hardest part, this is just obviously telling because the hardest part I deal with catering, because we're in the same space. We do lots of pharma, lots of different, everyday lunches, but then we also do the weddings and the high end and the nice stuff for Table and Time.
Okay.
But the hardest part about what we do is we're not a restaurant.
Yeah.
And no one sees a Meal Fit logo or a Table and Time logo, whereas there are 5 opportunities to pass Ashley Mack.
Right.
There are 50 opportunities to pass a Taco Mama or a Tzatziki's.
Yeah.
And so I have to. That's the hardest part for me.
Yeah. I could see that.
Yeah, it's difficult. So for you now? We talked about at the beginning. Where do you spend marketing dollars?
Yeah. Okay. So we have a full-time person that's on our executive team that does all marketing
For all 5 places.
For all locations, all lines of business, everything. So we do a ton of social media marketing.
Sure. Paid or unpaid?
A little paid, not a ton paid, honestly.
Sure.
We boost and do ads and stuff, but nothing crazy. And then honestly, our marketing dollars mostly are on our personnel. Her putting everything out there. But we take a lot of pride in our branding and she does a great job with our packaging and all those things. So, and I know that's different than necessarily like sticking an ad in a piece of paper, but our branding is like people are taking this stuff home. And so the logos, the stickers, all that's very important to us. Thankfully,
people don't realize this. That stuff's expensive.
It's so expensive.
Like, for example, I'll say this. You brought your cup in as an Ashley Mack logoed cup.
Yeah.
Probably looked like tea or something like that in it. You have to order 50,000 of those cups.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Exactly. And they're 22 cents a pop. I mean,
They
not cheap.
are.
Yeah.
They're very, very expensive. So I agree with you. I agree with you there. How many hours a week do you currently work in the food stuff?
It obviously depends on the week, especially with all the kids stuff. So I try to just work when they're in school, which is 8 to 3.
Sure.
I still pick up our youngest at school every day. My boys have sports after. So 20 to 50.
That's a gigantic.
Depending on the week.
That's a gigantic range.
Thankfully, it's been a long time since I've worked 50, but no, I would say between 20 and 30. So
2-part question. What do you hate most about this business?
Oh, what do I hate most?
Hate's a strong word. What do you dislike most?
Dislike the most? I would say, gosh, that's tough. Because this is also a positive, but customers, as you like being in the service industry, It's just the general public. I mean, you can do everything right and there's still going to be someone's going to complain about something. You can't please everybody. So whether it's like, why'd you take that off the menu, or why won't you put this on the menu, or my meal was late, or whatever it is, I just think it's there's always something. And so I feel like over the years I've gotten better about taking it in stride, learning how, hey, like, I'm going to fail. And a lot of it is, some of it is our fault, and I mean, clearly it's not like we're perfect.
We are human.
Yes. Yeah. And so, I will say the times that I personally, which this does happen where I have to personally, not very much, but get involved if there's a big, complaint about a big order or something. And, I think when I feel like there's a resolution, it's like, and the customer is like, okay, like, thank you so much. I'm bending over backward trying to make it right. And they accept it. I'm like, I'm okay with that. What's real hard is when you do everything you can to make someone like, I'm so sorry, we're going to refund this, and then they're still upset. That's hard to live with, You
have to sit there and go, okay, would I be happy with this solution?
Yes. Yeah.
And if I would be happy with this solution, I sleep just fine.
Yes. Right.
So the funny thing is yesterday we had a meeting. So we changed our chicken salad. Okay. So we put the chicken salad in the vending machines and do a lot of places, things there. And it's good. But we got a new chef, and I liked our chicken salad, but I wasn't like just married. I mean, it was good.
Yeah.
Okay. But it was a recipe from an old chef that we have that's just what we used.
Okay.
It had tarragon, it had mustard. It was great.
Oh, I love tarragon.
Well, so Bobby starts using this new chicken salad, and it's freaking great. It's great. Okay. And we change it. And girl, we got this email. Hey, I eat this chicken salad every day in the so-and-so vending machine at the so-and-so hospital. And if this is the case, if this is the change is going to be made, I will not be buying anymore.
Yeah. You're like, I'm so sorry.
We're so sorry. So what we did is Sierra's, I think this was Sierra's idea. Sierra said, we made the old chicken salad, and we took them some.
Yeah. Aww.
Just because.
Yeah. Yeah.
You better savor it, sweetie, because this is the last you're going to get.
Right.
But like, I say this all the time. Sometimes a screw up is an opportunity to show people how great you really are.
Totally. That has happened to us so many times. I've had people after something that happened be like, because of the way you handled this, I like this place even more,
We do. It happens a lot in catering.
Yeah.
Because catering is off-site.
Right.
And we do drop off a ton, just like you do.
Right.
But we also do the nice setup
right.
and things like that. And there are, it's just the way life is. It happens. It doesn't happen as often anymore. But a lot of times you can make a raving fan by how you fix a problem.
Right.
And I tell people all the time, don't hit the panic button when something goes wrong. How can you make this right? Because sometimes even losing a little money will make it okay on the back end.
Right. Totally agree with that.
And so for people in any kind of business, that's doable in anything that you do.
Yeah. I agree.
Okay. If you knew what you knew now, okay, so we're 2005. We're 20 years into this thing.
I know, we're old.
We're 20 years into this thing, and you knew what you knew now. What 2 things would you go back and do differently? And don't give me, I wouldn't change a thing. That is bull. Because I got a list of things I would do differently.
Hard to narrow down to 2.
Yeah. So give me, if you had to go back and do it.
Yeah.
What are 2 things you would do differently over the last 20 years?
Okay. Yeah. I will say early on, I would have found mentors, maybe a mentor or multiple, maybe, or even just been willing to reach out to people that were even competitors to kind of glean some knowledge, especially because I was so young. I was 25 years old, trying to kind of understand the industry, learn more. Because I will say now I'm very involved in a group called La Dames de Escoffier. It's a
You sound like you stuttered. Say it again. I know you probably.
That's because I'm a Southern girl saying a French word.
You probably said it clear.
La Dames de Escoffier. So it's an international organization for women in food.
Great. Okay.
And so I'm very involved in that. You would know tons of names: Becky Satterfield, Parta Stitt. All these women in food. And we raise money actually for women to go to culinary school, to give scholarships to underprivileged and different people, grants, all kind of stuff. But anyway, I know so many of these business owners, women that, I can text and be like, hey, like, who's doing your t-shirts now? Hey, who's, my cup person is, falling through. I need a new one, whatever, just talking to each other about things. And I think early on I was too afraid to ask anyone because I was new into the industry. And now, especially at my age, I'm 45 now, I'm like more than happy to help anyone, to give them, there's hardly anything you could ask me that I wouldn't tell you, because I'm like, we're all in this together. There is plenty of people in Birmingham that want to eat at all these places, I
tell people this all the time. People are going to get tired of Ashley Max.
Right.
People are going to get tired of Meal Fit.
Yeah.
Because it's just this. No one wants to eat the same thing every day.
Right.
And here's the thing too. I tell people there's enough money to go around to make everybody's business go afloat.
Yes.
If you do a good job.
Right.
You gotta do a good job.
Right. So I would definitely do that. And then the other thing I would say early on differently is I would be more let people go more quickly that was not a cultural fit with us or just wasn't working out. And I think early on I felt kind of stuck, like I needed people bad. It was hard to hire people, still is hard. But back then I think sometimes I held on to certain employees too long that I'm like, this person is not a cultural fit. Their attitude is not, what we expect. Maybe sometime the skill was lacking, but a lot of times it was just attitude. And I would be like, gosh, until we find, I've got to have someone here. And I think now I know I would rather do it with a smaller team and, us get it done than kind of have this, all the positions filled, but not filled well.
So the two things are find somebody to ask and talk about your problems with. And then the second thing is fire quicker.
Yep.
That's great. Those are two things I would not have expected. That's really, really good. Odd question. If someone put a gun to your head and said, make the best thing you know how to make, what would it be?
Oh, wow. That's a hard one. Man. Probably some form of dessert. When I originally started, it was going to be called the Ashley Mac Dessert Company because I was doing so many cakes and pies and brownies and, different things that was kind of what I was known for. Yeah. Early on. And so I remember our first logo, I was kind of like, maybe we should just do desserts. It'll be easy. Like in my mind, I'm like, that's just easier. Let's just focus on that. So probably some kind of dessert. Okay.
Give me something better than that. Give me the dessert. Give me the dessert the best thing that you make.
I mean, our strawberry cake, our wedding cake, that's kind of become a new popular favorite.
I've never heard
wedding
of that.
Cake, okay, so you need to try it. So, almond flavored cake like you would have at a wedding. Because I love a true icing, like a really good buttercream icing. Yeah. So I would say probably some cake. Carrot cake is another big seller that we do seasonally.
Sure.
So yeah.
Okay. You talked about investors. When did you get investors?
Oh gosh. What year was that? Maybe 2020, 2021 early, so recent.
Why?
That's in my husband's territory, but we did not want to have any debt. We didn't want to, keep growing and obviously not be able to fund it. I think we didn't have any interest in just going to a bank. And I think we had a lot of people express interest to us. That wanted to be investors. So I think that kind of spurred us on like, hey, people want to, they see that we're successful, want to have a part of this, want to help.
Why did you do it though? Because you didn't want to take on any debt and you wanted to grow and you didn't have the money. Like, tell me.
We wanted to grow.
You wanted to grow.
Yeah, yes.
You wanted to open up another restaurant.
Yes, right.
And
exactly.
And it's either go to the bank and take out a lot of money or have Johnny help us.
Right. Exactly.
Do you have private equity or is it individuals?
Individuals.
That's good.
Yes.
What's your favorite part about owning your own business?
Favorite part? Okay, so my favorite part would be the people. So we, as you well know, most people, when you ask them what's the hardest part of running a business, will probably say employees. People. Yeah. So I think it can be
the same answer.
It's the same answer.
I just wanted to ask the question because I know the answer.
Yeah. So same answer. So it is definitely presents many hard things and sleepless nights, but also it has been the most rewarding for us is just having a part in people's lives, especially so many in our industry, as are just, it's a wide variety of people. And a lot of people probably I wouldn't have come in contact with otherwise. Oh, well. The 17-year-olds or the, just people that actually are a second chance employer. And so we employ a lot of men from Change Lives Center that are homeless. And, just these men that are awesome that have been, trying to get back on their feet. I mean, we've had one that's been working with us for, 8 years. Long time. And, and of course, sometimes people are in and out, but just to hear their stories and see how God's provided for them, worked in their life, they've overcome, addiction, poverty, a number of things. So I feel like that's definitely the most rewarding of just getting to be a part of people's story that I wouldn't have otherwise.
What's the grand plan for Ashley Mack?
The grand plan. Man, I would love to know that.
You tell me.
No, we do want to continue to open stores. It's amazing we get so many people, every week comment on different, oh, I wish you would open in Nashville, or I wish you would open here or there, And so, especially so many people that have either Birmingham natives or their child moved and then they want to, take them Ashley Mack to their city or whatever it is. So we would love to grow regionally. We'll see. We do not want to franchise, and so therefore it's going to be slower. And I'm not saying that would never change, but we've looked into it, and right now we feel like we want to run them all.
Next question. Why not franchise?
Why not franchise? I think it's very hard to maintain quality, maintain consistency, maintain control clearly over your people. I think that there's very few people that would run it like you want it run.
Sure.
And we've talked to several people that have franchised, and the majority of them wish they hadn't. And so, we're not in it for the money. So, it's nice to make a living, but we're, not trying to kill it or anything. So, we would rather, have a hand in it. So
you know Lindsay Miller?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say, she understands that world.
Yeah.
And how well from a business perspective?
Lindsay,
owns Battle.
No. Owns what?
Owns Battle Republic.
Okay. No. That name sounds familiar, but I was thinking of a different Lindsay.
She used to help with. She used to be the CFO at Zoe's.
Okay.
With John.
Okay. Oh, with John. Yeah. Okay. I might have met her.
Okay.
I've met
You
John.
need to meet her.
Okay.
Because you guys are very similar. She owns now multiple businesses.
Okay.
She owns an accounting company that does all the books for all our businesses.
Oh, wow. Cool.
She's wonderful.
Okay.
She's awesome. She's around our age. Yeah, she's around in her 40s. Wonderful soul, but has got a mind that is like far beyond her years.
Wow, that's awesome.
And so she helped John grow Zoe's.
Okay.
And understands numbers. Her and your husband would really jive.
Yeah.
But you would really jive with her too, because she's great.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome.
I need to make that introduction. Sierra, help me remember to make sure that I introduce those two, because they would love each other. This is a weird question. Besides your family and Ashley Mack, what do you think about the most?
Well, I'm a Christian, so my faith and what the Lord's calling me to do each day, I would say, is a big something I think about a lot. Reading scripture, praying, trusting Him for the next thing.
Sure.
And just, I would say, in my day-to-day life, that's definitely the most important thing to me. And none of us are going to be here forever. Sure. So all these things that we're sowing down here, what are they going to reap?
Right. Tell me about this. How do you and your husband invest outside of your business? So obviously, when you own your own business, a lot of the dollars that you make funnel back into.
Right.
Okay. So do you guys have any sort of portfolio outside of what you're doing from the business perspective? And what do you do there?
Yes. Honestly, we at different times have had little things, but we really do invest in our company because we feel like that's kind of the best, especially in this economy.
Sure.
We're not big into the market and all that. So, and my husband is an accountant, so he's very financially savvy. But we have chosen to, really just invest in our company and the growth of it.
Okay. So one of the questions I asked, that's a good answer. So one of the questions I asked was, tell me about your favorite book. Okay. And you told me that the book that your favorite book is out of print.
I know. And okay,
I want to know about this.
I know. Well, so many people ask me about it, so I need to figure out how we can get him to print, because I do know the author. So Alan Levi Have you ever heard of him?
No.
You would love him.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you should meet him. Okay, he's awesome. So he is a singer-songwriter. And that's like what he really does. And I actually met him. We have mutual friends, but at a concert at Oak Mountain Church that Ashley Max sponsored. And so he's doing this whole concert. And at the end, he presented a book to me because we were the sponsor. And it was called Olivia Town. And he wrote a song about it too, I believe. But the book is this girl named Olivia that paints this whole town of chalk. And so you go through the whole book and it's like, you know, showing kind of the different little parts of the city that she's building. And then you get to the very end and it's like a child has drawn it. So the buildings and everything is really big. And then the people are really, really big and the buildings are like really small, like out of proportion, like a kid would draw something,
sure.
you know? And so anyway, so the whole premise of the book is the people are big, the houses are small. And so he wrote in there a note to me that said something like, to the Queen of Ashley Maxtown, continue to color the world with the love of Jesus. The people are big and the houses are small.
That's so good.
And so ever since he said that, my husband always like will kind of text back and forth, or if something's going on, like we're trying to make a decision about something. It's like, okay, the people are big, the houses are small, you know? And so just keeping that in perspective of it's not about the bottom line, it is about the people. So
isn't it crazy how God can put people in our lives to where like that moment in time, and here we are years later. And I asked that question, and that's the story you tell.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
That's
So yeah, it's not like I do love to read, so it's not as much of a like you're gonna like a novel, you know. But and which he has written a novel that was really good too. But anyway, so
tell me about your book. So this is intriguing to me because you've probably got more skill in the kitchen than I do.
Oh, I don't know about that.
No, you do. Yeah, but the book thing is extremely interesting.
Yeah.
I love the thought of that. Tell me the whole process there.
Yeah.
And how that came about.
So my husband actually for years has been like, you need to write a cookbook, and even customers, it's like, oh, I wish, I love to cook too. And I love, you have so many good ideas or whatever. And on Instagram, I'm not real big on like my personal Instagram, but every once in a while I'll show things I make for the kids or just stuff at home that's not at Ashley Max, And so I have had requests over the years, and then my husband's like, I just think it would be so cool if you did this, And so finally, Hoffman Media actually approached us. Okay, yeah. And Brian Hoffman, I went to high school with Brian and Eric, and Brian was like, that does the bake books and magazines, was like, we totally would love to do a book with you. They're a publishing company and do kind of hold your hand, like start to finish. They have a full test kitchen, photography.
So this is Southern Living.
Yeah, Southern Lady.
Okay.
Not Southern Living, Southern Lady, and they have like a Taste of the South, all kind of.
Okay.
You would, I should definitely know them.
Yeah.
And have published a ton of cookbooks. They do Brenda Gant, they do Paula Dean. They've done.
Brenda Gant.
Yeah. Have you met her?
I've not.
Oh my gosh, you should. She's hilarious.
So Darian Craig, the guy that owns Y'all Sweet Tea, have you seen? Have you seen that?
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
So Brenda Gant is how Darian's company took off.
Oh, that's so cool.
And he got her to be a quote influencer.
Oh my goodness.
And that is part of the and Darian was on the podcast. He's wonderful. He is a wonderful soul. One of the best looking men I've ever met. And so like Darian was on here and he told the story about her. And how it exploded, and how this lady's a wonderful. I don't know her.
You should totally meet her. I mean, I've met her, but she wouldn't really know who I am probably.
Yeah.
But anyway, but she's hilarious, and like she is all blew up during COVID on Facebook.
Exactly.
But it's so funny.
Facebook.
Not Instagram.
Not
Yeah,
Instagram.
Facebook. Yeah.
Yes.
So it's hilarious. But yeah, she has all that generation. I feel like there's like big followers ever. But anyway, so he approached me, Brian, and we had a meeting, me and him and Andy, because at first I've been like, maybe when my kids graduate high school, it's like, it feels like a huge undertaking when I'm also running a business and have all these kids and I'm never going to have time to do this. So when I met with him, honestly, he sold me on it because he was like, this is what this is how we do it. They gave me like a schedule, like you're going to submit 200 recipes. Cause I was like, I didn't even know how it worked. Yeah. 200 recipes. You're going to submit these to us. We're going to cull through them. We're going to help you decide first of all, we're going to make sure that we have enough good ones to do, so they kind of interview. I mean, for lack of
how many are in the book?
100. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, and Hoffman Media is like one of those people does everything amazing. Like anything they do is going to be done really well,
Yeah.
And so I have total confidence in that. But then when he also said one of my big hangups of was like, I'm like a throw everything together in the kitchen. Besides baking, obviously, I follow,
Yeah.
But so it overwhelmed me to think about like writing a recipe. I'm not a recipe writer,
Yeah, I'm with you.
and that's a whole thing, and I'm not real detailed. And so the thought of like, I've got to write down what I put in this, like that overwhelmed me. But when he told me there's the test kitchen, he was like, we have a full, trained chefs that you can give these to, and they will write it, and then we will test it and you will taste it. There's a whole process.
Because here's the thing. You put a half cup of sugar in there and then it needs more. And you go and do this.
Yes. How are you going to tell someone how to do that?
I got big hands. So like I get it. That's me. And Jackie just doesn't, my wife, she's not a cook.
Okay.
And so I still do most of the cooking in the house. And so she's just like, I need a recipe. I'm like, no, you don't.
Yeah.
You got it. Figure it out.
Right,
and
right.
she's like, no. So she's in there looking at her phone and all this stuff.
Right.
And I'll look at the recipe and go, all right, I got it.
Yes.
And I'll go in there and it won't not be exactly the same.
Right, sure.
But it ends up being pretty good.
Yes. Yeah.
Most of the time. So
right.
200 recipes, you submit these
200
things.
recipes. He's like, we'll call it down to 100. So I went through, and I was very, very involved in the process. So lots of meetings, lots of, and they want to do it how you want to, and they want to present you. It's not fake. They want it to be real.
It's your stuff.
So it's my stuff. And so they was like, is this how you like this? Like, is this, or when we decorate this, what do you want it to look like? How do you do yours? I'll send them a picture. This is how I ice my cake. This is how I went, or it might be, hey, can y'all tell me, how would you do this better? Or how would this be easier for the home cook? So that part honestly was very fun. Actually, there was lots of it that I actually really enjoyed. I remember a lot of Friday nights being home, the kids watching a movie or they're out, whatever, doing stuff. And it's like, okay, for 3 hours, I'm going to sit. And I enjoyed it. I got to look through and create the chapters, and a lot of creativity goes into it. And then I was big on their photography, which was beautiful.
Yeah.
So anyway, it was actually it was a hard project, but really fun too.
Everyone says that there's no money in books, but talking to you before, you said you made a little money.
I did. And I didn't do a huge print. Someone could do a lot more. So it wasn't like I was trying to be some bestseller, or whatever. But it was profitable and I made money doing it, so it was worth my time. I'll say that much.
Sell?
About 6,000.
That's a lot of books.
A lot, but not compared to.
Can I go to Amazon right now and buy one?
No, they're at my stores. So they're on our website. We do ship them from our website, and then they're at each of our locations.
How many do you sell a month?
Probably depends on gosh.
2 or 50?
Always more than 2, but 50, depending on the month. In December, I did a lot of signings, so we would sell 100 at a sign. You know what I mean? But then in the stores on a day-to-day basis, it's they might trickle through a few a week at a store.
When did you publish it?
I'd published it in 2022.
So it's almost 3 years old. 2.5 years old.
Yes. Yeah.
Would you do another one?
2023. Oh, all my years are running together.
That
was
25.
right. 22. Yeah, that was right. Oh my gosh.
It's 25.
Yes. How is this possible? Yes.
I know. How would you do another one?
I would do another one, but not anytime soon. I feel like it's a big undertaking. My kids are 6 through high school. So it's just, I feel like I want to enjoy and not feel like I have another project, and I don't feel any urgency to do it since I have that one.
Okay. It's a difficult question. If you had to start over from zero, what would you do?
If I had to start over from zero,
you starting over, what would you do?
Wow, that's a hard question. Never thought about that. Man, looking back, I'm so grateful for what the Lord's done, how He provided for our family, our business. Doing something I did not have on my radar at all. Like I said, I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, and now just the fulfillment of what I get to do, including being a mom, is very rewarding. So I really can't say that I would change a ton. I know there's a lot of little things I'm sure I would, but as far as the big picture, I'm grateful for everything. So
tell me about your kids. You've got 5?
Yes, 5? I always say 3 to 5 because
I got a sliding scale.
It depends on what day you come to my house.
That's right. But
we have the 2 biological boys, little girl we adopted from China. She was 2.5, and that was in 2015. So we just had her 10-year gotcha day. So we just
Okay.
celebrated 10 years that she's been home.
Gotcha. I never heard that before.
Gotcha day, yeah. And then our boys are 15 and 13.
Okay.
And then we have 2, we call them our foster kids because it's actually not through DHR, but they have been in and out of our home for over 12 years on the weekends and stuff. Oh, yeah. But one of them moved in. The oldest one is 23 now. He moved in when he was 16. So I got a teenager when I just still had like toddler and elementary age kids. So that was interesting. I literally felt like I had a teenager dropped on my doorstep, and we did not know how to parent a teenager. So
If someone wants to find you, where do they need to go?
yeah, we're on Instagram
Right.
at Ashley Max, and then on Facebook, Ashley Max. I'm Ashley_McMakin.
Yep.
Which y'all can link maybe. And then my email is ashley@ashleymax.com. So that's pretty easy.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you. It was fun.
Bye.